I'm just waiting to catch us. There you go.
It would not shock me if this didn't work, man. Everybody can uncross your fingers now because the Hangout started. Thank you. All right, guys, welcome to Hana's Hangout. This is Season 5, Episode 11. And we've had such a crazy day getting all this together, and we're just going to try to make it through it, you know. So we're going to go through the prizes real quick, and then we're going to start the show.
Hi, I can help.
Oh, shit.
Well, if you want to help, you can. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Who said shit? We've gone 5 seasons without a single curse word yet. Who just broke our streak?
right.
You could not have gone 5 seasons.
No.
We were on it. I'm sure there was some swearing.
5 minutes, maybe.
So
There you go.
somebody called like a 1-800 number or something. It's like, oh no.
So we're going through everyone's pictures, and now let's get back to the prizes. There we go.
Back to prizes. Okay.
If anybody has any problems with their with the technical part of the show, feel free to comment in the comment section and address your comments to Julie Rydell.
Oh,
Thank you.
All right. So first off, for Fright Props, we have the skeleton spider. That looks really cool.
Yeah.
And we have an awesome mask. That thing looks killer from Face Factory Effects. We have a gallon of bog juice from Froggy's Fog. Well, you guys are awesome.
You don't need the sound effects.
Right. We have Sam Haines, Sounds of Horror and Halloween, Something Wicked. We have original sound effects for your haunted houses and escape rooms from Sinful Audio.
All right.
All right.
I didn't see you clap, Dave.
I didn't see you clapping. Okay, we're going to hand it over to Jackie, and she's going to get it started for us.
All right, tonight we have Christine Campbell from Haunted Calgary, Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
All right.
And then we have Dave and Marcy Caulkins from the Creepatorium in Springfield, Vermont.
Yay!
And then Monclair from Lake Terror Among Us Manor, Marlborough, Connecticut.
All right.
And Tim Thompson, Huntsville, Alabama. He has no name for his haunt yet. So. his haunt's name is not No Name Haunt. He doesn't have a name to be determined.
That's totally not my fault, whatever he says.
It's completely your fault. So, Christine, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your haunt.
Sure. Well, our haunt started basically because my dad was stuck babysitting myself and the neighborhood kids one day. And he had a big poplar tree that needed the leaves raked up. And so he was like, oh, geez, what am I going to do with these kids and these leaves? And so he started saying, hey, why don't you rake up these leaves, throw them in these kitchen catcher bags and make some ghosts. We'll hang them up and have a spooky Halloween. And so it went from there to cereal box tombstones, etc. And now I don't want to talk about how many years later, but over 25. We've really actually gotten to be a fairly big attraction. We think we're Calgary's largest yard haunt. We have about 10,000 square feet of haunt space that we maze up every year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and we get all outside, mind you, and or maybe like a little bit of covered section in the garage. And we get about 5,000 to 7,000 people through.
Oh, wow.
God, they actually go out in the cold, I guess.
And some of them line up for over an hour in snow.
Wow.
Yeah, no, personally, I think the guests are the ones that have the
So,
crazy.
how many nights are you open?
We're open 3 days.
And you get that many people?
Yeah,
Holy
roughly.
cow.
Yeah.
She got like the perfect spot.
Well, so it's done at my parents' house, and they have a 120-foot driveway and a big backyard and some really oversized garages. So we kind of built that house with Halloween in mind. So that said, we've hit our capacity at that space. If anyone wants to give us a building, we would love to be indoors where there is no snow.
There's no snow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dave and Marcy, tell us a little bit about you and your haunt.
Okay. We started haunting, we started decorating ages ago when we first bought the house because both of us grew up in places that didn't get trick-or-treaters, so decorating for Halloween, you'd put out a few pumpkins, but it was no big. So we were really excited to have trick-or-treaters, and we started with lots and lots of jack-o'-lanterns, and eventually added the half-price Halloween props, and slowly we started doing some sort of display on our porch and something in the front yard, and we ultimately built more and more, and then more and more pumpkins. We topped out at 65 pumpkins one year that we carved the night before. That was always the rule. They had to be pumpkin carving party night. We're really good. We're really efficient at turning pumpkins. But eventually we decided that because we have a really teeny front yard, we started moving into the walkthrough, and we did our first walkthrough in 2015, which was a carport and another tent. This year we decided to use our barn because it's already old and creepy anyway, so that's great. So we kind of built a little weaving walkthrough through the barn and back out through the carport. And, it was a lot of fun. Fantastic year, 2016.
So how many days are you guys open?
We're open Halloween.
Halloween. One day.
This year we were actually literally open. The walkthrough was literally open from 6 to 8. We had 1 million kids go through there. We have no idea.
The actual count we figure is between 400 and 450.
Well, 400.
I was going to say 1 million. You're throwing Christine.
And we gave away the last handful to some people that drove by at 9:30 at night. But we had 450 candy bars and they were gone. And yeah, we paid our help in candy, but there were at least 350 people that went through that haunted house in 2 hours.
Wow.
And then it was done and Trick or Treat died, and we let the kids go home because it was cold.
Trick or Treat never dies.
It never dies. It dies out on our street. You will see it.
The streets
Seriously, you'll see. You'll just all of a sudden you'll look out and there's nobody.
No, it's
really
just napping. It's not dead.
No, it's not dead. It's undead.
Yeah, we keep our light on like until like at least 2 or 3, and you always see like some stragglers, and they're like shocked that you have your light on.
On the weekend, you'll get them around here, but on a weeknight, like last year was a Monday. It was at 8 o'clock. It was dead. Done.
They're like, you still got your light on? Are you still giving away candy? We're like, sure, here you go.
We've run the party until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we just left everything on.
We go in and out.
We let the actors know because most of them were kids. Well, no, they weren't the ones drinking. We were drinking.
No,
we let the kids go inside and eat candy instead.
We have a lot of kid actors.
This year we did. We had no idea who was going to show up for actors this year until about 2 hours before we opened. It's a little scary.
It happened.
Awesome. Monclair, tell us about you and your haunt.
Well, my haunt's Lake Terror Among Us Manor. I think it's right there behind me.
It's
and
backwards.
Is it? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay. I live on Lake Terror, Terramugus, so we thought that was kind of a clever play on words. But I've been decorating for, I don't know, a long time now, 15, 20 years. But really only got serious probably about 12 years ago. I think we started our first walkthrough. Not at this property, at my previous property, but I don't know. We moved here and we made a lot of props. I guess it probably started with my sister. She decided one day she was going to make some tombstones, so she came up with the idea of carving them out of pink foam and using paint sticks to hold them down. So we have a big joke around here that everything is if there's a problem and we don't know how to finish a prop, just throw some paint sticks in, because that did not work out very well, and tombstones were all over the yard that first year. But I probably just evolved from there, and every year we'd go to the half-price sales after Halloween and just pick up whatever we thought was cool and just add a little bit, and now it's just insane. It's out of control, and my basement's full of a bunch of Halloween stuff, and that's pretty much it. And I guess probably this last year I really tried to make an effort to improve a lot of the props that we had, and I started vlogging last year, and we kind of went all out. I had a couple of props trip me up a couple of times, but that electrocution prop I wanted to throw in the garbage. If anybody's watched my vlog, they know for sure that damn thing. But I finally got that working, and we decided at probably the last minute to do a walkthrough. I think it was probably September 1st. We decided we're going to do a walkthrough, and we just barreled ahead, and we made up about 30 panels, I think, 33 panels, and built the walkthrough in the garage. And it was our first time doing it. We think it turned out pretty great. We had, I don't know, probably about 400 people come through or so. We did it over 3 nights. So, we wanted to get the most out of it for the amount of effort that we put into it. I can't imagine carving 65 pumpkins for one night. I can't even fathom that. But so
we had help.
Yeah, I mean, so we try to get the most out of it that we can. And of course, I have help from my wife and my mom and my sister, and everybody pitches in. So it's not just me.
Cool.
Dude, I totally
sorry.
get, Brad, what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. If I was high, that would be freaking me out.
I just want to follow whatever religion he started.
Right. It's Jesus.
Okay, moving on. Tim, tell us about you and your haunt.
Well, guess I started probably around 17, 18 years ago. At our first house, consisted of trash can trauma. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with that, except my trash can was a clothes hamper that I took out of the bedroom and inserted a bicycle pump and inside of it with a mask. And when the little kids got on the front porch and scared the crap out of him, then I was hooked. So we've been growing ever since. We did a front yard walkthrough at our old house. So basically just big canopies out in the front yard and over the driveway. And then when we moved to this house, one of the selling points was the yard. I'm like, perfect yard walkthrough. And so once we moved here, we didn't do much for our front yard because we do live in a HOA neighborhood and didn't want to get a bunch of complaints. And so we just started doing a walkthrough in the backyard and just keeps adding stuff every single year. We're typically only opened up one night a month for Halloween. And we typically have a Halloween party, and for 2 occasions, one's for our friends and coworkers, and the other one's for family night. And then we have trick or treat night. And for the last 3 years, except for this year, we've been rained out on Halloween night. So to work all month, setting everything up, I mean, it just got so disheartening. And so this year we decided to cancel all parties, which, we broke a bunch of people's hearts by doing that, but we was able to open up for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And it did not rain, not one single night. And we wound up having around a little over 900 people between those 3 nights.
Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great.
Yes. Very cool. Brad, do you have any questions for the panel? And then we can move along to photos.
Questions for the whole panel. Yeah, there was one a second ago. Besides, so Dave Rapian wants to know for the panel, besides Halloween, home haunts, or Halloween, what other hobbies do you all have?
Christine, let's start with you.
Well, I was involved a lot in animal rescue and taking a little bit of a step back. I just had a baby last year, so he's taking up a lot of my time. But other than that, it's mostly Halloween. I have an addiction.
Don't we all? Dave and Marcy?
Role-playing games.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've been role-playing nerds.
Yep, and
which is what we're hoping to incorporate actually into our haunt this year. But
we're going for a more of a dark D&D sort of theme.
We want to do the Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
If we can pull it off, if not, we'll default back to the old witch house.
We're going for it. We're going for it.
So that's a hobby. I've been known to make some beer in my time, and not in a while. But maybe haunting got in the way of making the beer. I only ever get involved in hobbies that are obsessive, really, which is not a good plan.
Right. Well, you can always do like a hillbilly one and pretend like it's a distillery out in the back and stuff.
I would love to hand out beers to the grown-ups.
Right.
But
awesome.
that there's just so much legality.
We thought about
having the secret beer tap on the side of the barn for the grown-ups.
We have a kegerator. It's a 4-tap kegerator that can be filled with homebrewed kegs. And we thought about putting it in the haunt in the back corner, and like when the adults come through, you go, hey, come over here.
Send them, but then again, that whole legality thing
it was a risk, so
Yeah.
It was a fun thought. It was a fun thought, but that was about it.
I would be good with that.
I think a lot of people would, especially here in Springfield. So
Yeah, right. You'd run out in
you'd run out in 5
half
minutes.
an hour.
Two people coming through. Well, I'm out of beer. Shit.
That's a big thing, man.
It's Vermont. It's not the most exciting place.
Yeah, people are starved for something to do up here. So
yeah. We give them something one day a year.
Monclair, how about you?
In my spare time, I enjoy long walks on the beach.
Oh, God.
Where's the runner on the beach? Come on, where's that picture?
Was that him?
I guess I don't know. I play video games. I just napping on the couch. Does that count? I don't know. I don't know. Computers were a big thing, and till I got into business working with them, and now I hate them. So I probably
that teaches you not to start a pro hunt.
Exactly right. So I probably just play games. Be what I do in my spare time, or I'm always fixing something around the house. Seems like so. That I don't know. Not a very interesting. Hobby-wise, I'm not really interested in a whole hell of a lot.
Well,
so probably
you've got one really interesting hobby, anyways, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This and gaming, and I like to watch movies, and I don't really care for the beach. So.
Oh, a haunted beach would be great.
Which is crazy because I live right across from a private lake. So I mean, well, not a private lake, but we have a private beach on the lake, and hardly ever. I think I've been there maybe 5 times in the 12 years I've lived here. And my wife is always over there, so I don't know.
He was walking down the beach with a Speedo, wasn't he? Like,
nobody wants to see that.
He's like, but I was.
All right, Tim, you're up.
Well, I guess the 330 days, of course, is all Halloween, and the rest of it is taken up with boating and motorcycle riding.
Cool.
What about scuba diving?
Oh, yeah, scuba diving. Yeah.
What's your name, man?
Scuba Steve.
Scuba Steve.
All right, we're actually going to move along to photos, and we are going to start with Dave and Marcy.
Okay, I have it up. Is it there?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's reassuring there, Julie.
Once again to the audience, it's Rydell, R-I-E.
Oh, straight to hell, Brad. Go Rangers, go Rangers.
So tell us about this.
So these are our zombie prisoners in the corner of the haunt there. The heads are actually, I took a couple of online workshops. I'll give a shout out to Scott Stahl. If that, he might be watching. Hi, Scott. But the heads were from his zombie head class. And then they're PVC frames. I bulked them out, added some thrift store suits, because you can't go wrong with a $4 suit to dress up your Halloween characters. So I strongly advise thrift stores. I think the hands, I got some of those zombie hand stakes to do hands. I really should have actually painted them, but I didn't get to that part. So, so yeah, that's what those guys are.
Hand stakes. What is that?
The zombie hand stakes. They're like the little. You're just supposed to stick them in the ground, and there's zombie hands coming out of the ground. They're like $6 a pair, and they're super useful.
They're really useful
because it's really hard to get hands.
Wow.
You know. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna do all the talking here because I tend to do all the prop work, and it's not that Dave doesn't do anything. I just want to make this really clear. I'm really impulsive, and I have to make things, and I'm like, it's a thing, and I have to make it, and then he has to figure out what to do with it.
And write the script.
Yeah, and do the script. He has to do everything else. I just do the fun part.
And he has to be quiet.
Dave, if you ever want to speak, just
raise your hand.
Question on Facebook, and I'll ask you.
I got a question. But
I did build the jail part for the
You did build the jail part.
Did you raise your hand?
We didn't call on you. Wait your turn. But he also just blew the 5-season no swearing, just by the way.
Hey, Brad, make sure you get some Dave questions in there.
Anyway, the Fairy Queen was a major prop.
This is an incredible picture.
I had done these little fairies, and they were really just a reworking of something we had played with last year that looked awful. So I redid them this year, where I actually used the little fairy wings and actually took the nylon off of them and corpsed the wings themselves out, and then used the mini skeletons. And then we realized we had this one big set of wings, and we had plenty of full-size skeletons. And well, of course, the Fairy Queen needs to be on a horse, so it was a perfect use for the skeleton horse. So yeah, she's just a full-size skeleton.
And this
posed. This was like a September. I have to make this thing. Yeah, and this was probably my last prop. I think I literally was finishing painting her on either the day before Halloween or Halloween morning.
Good God.
Putting the final touches on her. Thank you.
Incredible.
I loved it. It was basically just a corpse skeleton. The fairy wings are corpse separately. I attached them with screws and wires. Sat her on the horse. Gave her a little bridle, and we were just kind of going for that macabre beauty sort of thing with that prop.
It worked.
That's really beautiful. The lighting really shows that off too. You didn't come up with that.
Hey, look at that.
This was again an example of an impulse prop, where it was like I saw this idea for the real grandfather, and the grandfather clock, and I had to have one. So I scoured Craigslist until I found a grandfather clock I was willing to, pay the money for, and did this half-corpsed, spider-webbed grandfather stuck inside. Dave would like to say something now.
He raised his hand, man. He got on his feet. So he put his hand up.
It's our theme for the show.
Speak it, brother. Speak it.
This was one hell of a prop to actually shoot a photo of. And we are notorious for not getting any real footage or anything of our, haunt. I mean, truthfully. All I wanted to say was the wainscoting and the running boards there, that is all facade work. That's all made out of foam. So
just nice thin foam, and it just worked really nice along.
This is my tip for people on this one. If you want to make wainscoting like this, and you don't want to go dig for enough matching wainscoting. The folding, the pleated, accordion pleated,
really thin stuff.
It works.
You know what? Let him talk. Let him talk.
He raised his hand.
He's so used to not getting a word in.
Let him have his moment.
Just drink my drink.
Welcome to How We Haunt.
We're rooting for you, Dave.
Thank you. But a little heat gun, a little, soldering iron. I found that the actual hot wire tools were actually too much for this, and I had to use an adjustable soldering iron to do the lines and this stuff. A little heat gun on top of that, little paint stuck over the top. And if you have never tried a paint gun, like of an air compressor, not like an airbrush, but like a full size paint sprayer.
Air compressor is my new favorite thing.
It's the best thing we ever did for the haunt. I swear.
Get an air compressor, you'll love it.
There's tons of this stuff in the haunt, so.
I have a prop just like that that I made in my haunt with a with the grandfather clock and everything, we called it bitchin' o'clock. That was their name for the clock.
Well, the bitch is still alive around the corner.
Yeah, Grandmama. I had to go with Grandmama. Oh, that was one of the little fairies. That was one of my. I played with a number of. That was probably my favorite of the little fairies.
I love that.
That
Wow,
one
that's
is corpsed
awesome.
with. I like latex paint as a corpsing. It actually is fairly sturdy. And you just soak the heck out of whatever you're corpsing with in it. And if you buy Oops paints, it's like $5 a gallon, so it's really cheap. And that one was done with. I played with different techniques. That one was spider webbing.
A question from Nadine Ellard McEwing. What's the biggest challenges with your haunt? Volunteers, weather, money?
All of the above.
We could name a million things that we wish we did better. Like, volunteers, having people in the haunt. We didn't know until 2 hours before it opened who was actually going to be helping. There was one girl that showed up that was like the little 13-year-old girlfriend of a 13-year-old boy.
We over-recruited for it,
And for the first half an hour, I didn't know who she was. I was trying to figure out who this girl that kept creeping up behind me and scaring me. Sound, we always end up like not addressing sound until the very last
Which
minute.
is sad.
Something goes wrong, and then because we'll spend
we were
months,
musicians.
we'll spend
We have a PA
months
system
picking
and
out
stuff.
songs we like, and then end up having to resort to whatever CD we can find that works because this thing that
The
we set up
streaming
didn't
fails,
work.
Something fails, and we get stuck with technical
Yeah,
issues.
so we always end up with some stupid technical issue on sound. I mean, there's like a million things that's like, wow, we really suck at that. But costuming, I got in costume in about 10 minutes before we opened. I was like, nah.
Ryan Gregor wants to know, do you grow or buy your pumpkins?
I steal them from my brother who grows them, and then we buy some locally too.
Farm kid.
Yeah, I grew up on a farm, so usually my brother has some that I can steal.
So
Dave,
the
Dave
skeleton's
didn't raise his hand.
is webbing. Is
Oh.
the skeleton,
Yeah, I'm a loser.
is the skeleton webbing in latex, or is it webbing? And what is that?
It's exterior latex paint is what I use for all my corpsing. I just soak it in the latex paint and then just stretch it out and corpse away.
That looks really good.
It's webbing and latex paint. That's what that is?
Yep.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
and I've discovered that exterior latex works really, really good and rather than using liquid latex, which is really expensive.
Right.
Exterior latex paint, if you buy Oops paints, you can get it cheap, and just get anything in gray, black, or brown, and and then spray paint and dry brush does the rest.
Wow, and the spider webbing, right? The stuff you buy.
Yep,
Yeah,
cheap
yeah,
shit.
that one
Yeah.
was done with cob. The thing I don't like about the cobwebbing is that it's synthetic, so it doesn't seem to soak up the latex paint quite as nice as something like a paper towel or a cotton ball or cheesecloth will. But it really gives a nice, it gives a really nice look.
I love it.
It looks
Does
great.
it last season over season?
Well, we'll see
We'll
because
find
Oh yeah. Okay.
it's looking fine so far. We haven't left it out, but
Lydia Rossi wants to know, would you ever consider using Funkins, or are you natural pumpkin purists?
This is
That's
a
a Funkin.
Funkin. We bought a ton of Funkins. We do use Funkins. That's why we only carved like 20-something pumpkins last year.
That's what we started off as.
Because 20 real pumpkins.
We started off as carvers. I mean,
Yeah.
That's really what we started as.
But yeah, Funkins are great because I can do these really fancy patterns and never have to do it again.
A lot of people are asking how you manage to get all these pumpkins carved. Elizabeth Davis wants to know, do you normally have a
Our crew's
crew to
great.
carve the pumpkins?
Yep,
We bribe them with pizza and beer.
yeah, pizza here.
And
We have-
carve till your hands fall
We have
off.
about 6 people every year who show up like clockwork.
And
It
we've
is-
gotten
It's
efficient.
like a ritual. It's like, and we've actually started challenging our own times. So we
I
used
mean,
to
I
push
can
it
carve a
to-
jack-o'-lantern in under 5 minutes. It's not.
We do
you
cheat
get
out
used
on
to
the real
it.
ones. It's the fun things we actually spend our time.
Yeah, we do the.
And we
We
do
don't
those
do
in
anything
advance.
fancy.
We do not count them in the pumpkin tools, though.
All right, Julie, are we ready to move along to Monclair, or do you
Yeah.
want me to? Okay, awesome. Let's.
There we go.
Yay, Monclair, you're up. What are we looking at here?
I don't know. What are we looking at? Okay. Okay. This is. I got it. This is my zombie bride that I made this year. This is. I'm trying to remember it. This is silicone and naphtha that I learned from Alan Hops and his tutorials. That's the texture that you're seeing there, and paint along with, I think there's might be a little bit of plastic bag corpsing in there too. I'm not, if I remember correctly. And the hair on this prop was actually made out of rope. That was kind of a fun little project, taking the strands of rope and with some spray adhesive, attaching them to the skull. But I think I started with a pre-made skull for this one, and then I melted it a little bit.
Like you unbraided? Sorry, you unbraided the rope?
Unbraided the rope, and
that must have been painstaking.
Actually, no, it wasn't. It wasn't that bad. This particular rope was it was kind of like a nylon or something, if I remember correctly. And I think I added to this. We did add some wig hair from like the dollar store. I think I added a couple of strands of that. But most of what you're looking at there is rope, especially like the curly sections on the side of it.
I was under the impression that you shaved your head for the hair.
If only that were the case. Okay, cool. Yeah, this one here is a spit that I remade. Like I said earlier, the focus this year was to improve the crappy props that we had, because most of them were crap. And I don't know how much better they are from crap now. I think they're a little better, but I think everybody else here is head and shoulders above me and what they're doing. But this was one that that we had for our haunted wedding scene. It was the Ghoul's Wedding Feast is what we called it. And I made these arms out of 2x4s, chicken wire, and plastic drop sheet corpsing. On the bottom is chicken wire, again, with great stuff foam that's been painted brown. And I sculpted the hands out of, well, I didn't really sculpt them. I made the hands out of wood and a coaxial cable, like that goes into your television. And those actually turned out to be pretty easy to work with to mold it the shape that I needed. So, it was a lot of work, but I think they turned out pretty good. And then for the spit in the middle, it just had 3/4 PVC, and I had called the prop finish. And I said, it'd be kind of cool if I could make it look like bones. So I went back, and the ends of the bones are just plastic bags, heat shrunk, then with I think tin foil over them. Then the whole thing was just covered with plastic drop cloth again. And then I did like an antiquing, and then a highlighting and a staining and all that stuff, and that's what I ended up with. And then the fire at the bottom was something that that we had made a few years ago that my mom had made, and we wanted to redo it. And all those little pieces of wood that you're seeing there are all that really thin foam, like Dave was talking about earlier, that he did for the wainscoting. It's that thin blue stuff that I took with the file and went with the soldering iron, carved the grain, carved the knots, which was insane because the thing's in the pitch black and you can't see any of that stuff at night. But sometimes as a haunter, you go a little overboard worrying about every little stupid detail. But again, it's I think it came out pretty well, and it's head and shoulders above what we had before. And
Edie Blunser wants to know, how efficient are you when creating a layout for your haunt?
Hey, Edie, you've watched my vlogs. I'm not efficient at a damn thing. It's all a struggle. The whole thing is a joke. As far as laying out the haunt, I'll tell you a little story about the inside haunt that we did. We sat at the table, my mother, my wife, and I, and we each had our own pieces of graph paper. And my mother and I were struggling to draw out a layout for the haunt. We're arguing, no, this goes there, that goes there, and then my wife, I don't know, she just hands us both a piece of paper and says here. So she pretty much laid the thing out. So as far as laying stuff out, I don't know. We kind of got into a habit of where things go after a while. I'm not really one of those guys that changes themes or whatever. We just add more stuff every year, and so you kind of get into the habit where things are. This year we did mix it up quite a bit though, and just kind of stay tight to the house with everything. So efficient, no. There you go. How efficient? 0%.
Ryan Gregor wants to know, did the walkthrough go onto your deck?
No. Only in my, the walkthrough was in the garage, and then the walk out, we had a walk outside the house too, but no, we roped that off so that it's only around the house.
All right. I love watching your vlogs just because It's like, you know, like everybody like scripts their stuff and everybody edits it, and you just totally, you're like, shit, this didn't work.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
hey.
and you just grab it and you just throw it out of the way and say, well, we're gonna work on something else on the next one. Didn't work at all. And you know, and everybody else like takes them parts out and it just looks like the prop came together seamlessly, dude.
That's a load of shit, man. Nothing ever goes together. I'm sorry if I broke your swearing rule, but everybody's on this panel knows nothing goes together like anything. It's all a pain in the butt, and it never works right. I mean, if you want to watch an exercise in frustration, go watch my electrocution prop.
And he's so calm. He's so calm about it too in the commentaries. You know, he's like, "Well, yeah, this thing just the head fell off, but that's okay, and we're gonna move on to this."
That's well, it was brutal. I mean, I'll tell you what. I want to give a little shout out to Rich Dupre, Ghoulish Cop. He was doing a vlog last year, and it was a great vlog. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. And he gave me a lot of inspiration. He was making some nice stuff over there. I think he lost the bug and decided not to do his haunt. I don't know if something came up, but I started watching his vlog. I'm like, wow, I think I can. Maybe I should get off my ass and do some stuff. So. All props to him for giving me that inspiration. So that's why I started my vlog, just following him. So yeah, as far as showing what actually goes on, during the creation of stuff, yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. At the end of every one of my videos, there's bloopers. I mean, I impaled my thumb with a spring from that damn electrocution prop where the spring went underneath my nail in my thumb. All on video, so if you want to see me bleeding and shouting and swearing, and the day after, and I've come back and I've got this big wad of blue, pressure tape on. Oh, it's awful.
So your channel's like the Haunters Hangout of vlogs, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Question for you: how long, from Chris Wilhausen? How long do you spend on one prop generally?
Until it's done. I don't really know how to answer that.
How about this one here? Answer about this.
This guy was quick. This was an easy one. This was a skeleton that was already pre-made, that I went and did liquid nails corpsing on, and I got that, I think, from Victor Ives had put a picture up on Haunters Hangout, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. I've got to try that. So I grabbed some liquid nails. Went over this whole thing. I gave him a nose out of liquid nails and then chopped off half of it. It's on the left side there. But I think it came out great. I was able to sculpt that sore on the top of the head that you're looking at.
Okay, so looks awesome.
Yeah, the ears are liquid nails too, and there's some plastic. I think there's some plastic wrap on the rest of this thing. So on the body and whatever was plastic wrap coursing, but also with the liquid nails over it. And this one took maybe, I don't know, maybe a week, not even, a couple days, maybe 3 days, something like that. That was a quick one. That's when I could actually finish props during my vlog. I could knock them out till I ran on the damn pumpkins and that stupid electrocution prop.
Robert Collins wants to know, how does the whole family feel about the Halloween obsession?
They're fine with it. I mean, it's my mom shares it, and I don't know how obsessed I would say that I am. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm like I say, I'm probably the least of the pro of everybody here. So, I'm more of it's.
Well, hey, Tim doesn't even have a name for his.
It's a holiday I enjoy decorating in it, and it became a pretty big passion last year. I really wanted to put some effort and see what I could actually do if I applied myself, rather than a week before Halloween say, hey, let's make some shit, and then no, I decided let's see how good we can do, and it's all right. I mean, I think some of the pictures speak for themselves. They're not bad.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Very cool. Do we have one more photo, or?
I don't know. She's just sitting there.
She's sitting there. What are we?
We're gonna move to Tim.
Oh, okay. Actually, do we have one? Do we have a question for the panel?
Yeah. Okay.
Brad, you're on the spot.
Well, normally we don't. Okay. Anyways, for the whole panel, William Duffy. Normally, I don't allow storage questions because we've had so many.
Oh
of them.
no, where do you store
Oh,
your
good
props?
God.
But this is a bit of a twist on it.
Okay,
Where's the strangest place you have stored a prop?
Christine, let's start with you.
Hopefully, we're not talking about small ones.
Oh, jeez.
Oh God.
Well, I have a dead horse hanging out, decomposing beside the side of my house.
Like an actual
container.
dead horse?
Like an actual dead horse. And there's a big story about how my friend called me out to come get her dead horse and pull it out of a bog. And my grandpa thought he was going to die. And
he did.
and we carried this thing that did not smell good back with us in the back of my little Mazda car. And my grandpa told me when we got back that he did not love me anymore. But it's okay. All's well that ends well. About 2 years later, he's finally conceded that he loves me a little bit again. But yeah, so this horse is still hanging out beside my house and right underneath the gas meter. And of course, they came to change the gas meter yesterday, and I completely forgot that it was there. So
That's awesome.
that's probably the weirdest.
That is weird.
Duh. Dave and Marcy, how about you?
They're not there.
Oh, they're missing. Okay, Monclair.
Where's the strangest place I've stored a prop? Was that the question?
Yeah, it was.
See if you can top that.
Hey, stay off Facebook, bro.
Oh yeah.
I don't really know of a strange place that I've stored it. I mean, my last house, we did have a barn that we kept a lot of the stuff up over the top of the horses.
Was it a strange barn?
Yes, it was very strange. It was an evil,
There you
haunted,
go.
scary barn.
There you go.
There were wasps' nests up there. I don't know. Most of it's in my basement. That's where it all goes. I don't know.
Hey, we know Tim's gonna have a good answer because I've seen that man every convention he leaves with a truck full of stuff.
Oh my God, yes.
Go for it, Tim.
I think the strangest spot is in the yard itself. I mean, you have the lawn guys come over to, spread the chemicals on the grass, kill the weeds, and you open up the back gate and there is just always something in my backyard. I mean, it might be there all year or it might grow to multiple things as I build things throughout the year. So, I mean, I can just imagine these characters like, man, this guy's got a freaking horse in his backyard, or, this guy's got, skeletons, hanging in the bushes, So, I mean, there's really no strange place other than in the yard itself.
Wait, can I amend my answer because my wife just came in and reminded me of something? Is that all right?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know how the hell. I don't know how
Did
the hell.
she raise her hand?
Yeah. I don't know how this escaped me because it's going on right now. When we were taking down the inside haunt this year, I got, I don't know, most of it down and most of it put in the basement. But it got cold and it rained, and it seems like it never stopped raining since then. So we have an actual casket that I had loaded into the back of my van, and it's in my van still. And I drive around with this casket in my van. I don't know how I forgot that.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's probably the weirdest place. And I'm always wondering if I'm going to get pulled over by the cops. What's going to happen when they see this casket in the back of my van?
Definitely theft-proof, because if they come up to look in the back of the van to see let's see what's in there. And they're like, oh shit, this casket. No, that's not.
Yeah, so that's my weird storage place. I got to get that damn thing out of there. Oh my God.
Might as well leave it in there now.
Yeah, right. It's almost time to start again.
All right, moving along to Tim's photos. What are we looking at here?
Well, that's a mausoleum that I built probably about 3 or 4 years ago. That was built out of that white styrofoam beaded stuff. The windows are removable, so you could actually take off those windows. It looks like just block work. So I made it that way. That way, if I decided to put it on the other side of the yard, I can put the windows on the opposite side. But but that's actually the entrance to the actual walkthrough in the backyard. So once you come through our back gate, you'll actually have to go through that mausoleum, which has a casket in there and a couple skeletons, a bunch of wall plaques, so that's pretty much the beginning of the whole maze.
That's beautiful.
That is awesome,
Yeah.
dude. That is really awesome.
That right there is when you come out of the mausoleum, you'll walk into
Wow.
these skull walls, and all the vines move. I got them hooked up to one single motor, so the vines are moving throughout all the walls. That is a nightmare. This year I will probably redo them to individual motors versus all the wiring and cabling that is involved with all of that. You can see in the one picture that the skeleton is actually leaning out. He's actually sucked up into the wall, and as you walk by, the skeleton will pop out at you. And there's a total of 2 skeletons in that room. So there's one right in the middle on the right and one at the very far end on the left as you walk through.
Nice.
That's amazing.
After you walk through that little catacomb area there, you'll go into the spider area, and that's the spider woman there. Purchased her from Grandin Road. That is probably the beef netting that I tried out the very first year. That really works out really, really nice. It has a really good glow to it with blue LEDs. And of course, I got spiders and cocoons and all that type of stuff throughout that area. It's probably about 20 feet long, possibly. It has a slight bend up into it. Even has the spirit jumping spider. My new dogs really despise. I find it throughout the yard, throughout setup. So there's no telling where I will find that spider. It's a wonder it's even still working.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, wow.
I love this.
As you continue on to the backyard, I mean, there's other things that you pass it before you get to this point. We built a witch house. It has a bunch of witches around it. One witch is on a 4-bar mechanism that will rise up probably about 20 feet up into the air. Fog would come out of it. But once you pass up that, you'll walk up to the pumpkin patch. That is the lighting above the character is actually choreographed music. And so there's probably about 7 or 8 different Halloween themed songs I'll be playing. Those lights are choreographed like you would see people decorate up their houses with Christmas lights and music.
The pumpkins on top, is that what you mean? Those are choreographed? Oh,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then the whole pumpkin patch, there's probably 60 or 70 pumpkins out there.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
That's
we got
That's awesome.
we got
Hey, guys,
bags
have a
and
question.
bags of pumpkins.
Chris Wilhausen wants to know how do you go about waterproofing your setup?
I don't. There's just no waterproofing, and that's the reason that we've been rained out 3 years in a row in the past, because once the electrical plugs get wet, the circuits and the fuse box start cracking, and so it's just like lights out, literally.
Brandy Butler wants to know how long did the skull walls take, and Michael Skaggs wants to know, did you make all the skulls on the wall?
The skulls, I made every single one of them, even the bones and stuff. As David mentioned earlier about the naphtha and silicone, I actually used Alan Hopp's method of molding a skull with that. And so I used a 2-part resin. So they're actually resin. They're not styrofoam heads or bones. Each skull would probably take maybe, once I had the mold made, each skull would probably take maybe 15 minutes to make roughly. It probably took me about a week or 2 to make it.
That's amazing, man. That's an amazing job.
Anthony Lordigan wants to know if you have a tutorial on those catacombs.
I think I did a video on my YouTube channel, Scuba Spook 1. Not really a tutorial, but it shows you how everything is hooked up and the workings of it. And I did do a tutorial on how to make the naphtha silicone mix and cover up the skull and make your actual mold and stuff. So I mean, it's really handy.
Chris Wilhausen wants to know, how do you go about splitting groups up so you can actually get scares?
It's typically just a couple of us in our haunt. I'm in the midway point of it, basically where this picture right here is shown of the spinning tunnel. That's where I'm located at, and that's like the
That's
midpoint
awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
of
that
our,
is freaking amazing.
Wow.
of our whole walkthrough. And my wife was typically at the very front, and so every year we have to come up with some sort of new way of notifying each other of when to let the next group of people, and we typically don't let no more than 5 in at a time. So it's like, one year we had like straight line of sight, able to, see a particular prop move, and that's when you let the next group out. And then once that got blocked, another year with a different setup, we used lights or whatever. And this year we actually had to use cell phone because there was no straight line of sight for anything. Because every year we add. Because even before you walk into this area, you've already walked through the zombies. We had a whiteout room that was full of fog and strobe lights, and my pickup truck was parked in the backyard with zombies crawling all over it, and my workshop has zombies in a sewer scene and a couple of video effect doorways. And then when you walk out of that, you walk into this the spinning tunnel that I built probably about 4 years ago, and so far it hasn't given me too much grief, and every year I just try to keep on adding or modifying to it. And like you can see, the back in the back of it, we actually put up Mylar around the end of it to kind of give it a mirrored effect, and that kind of worked out pretty decent.
That is so awesome. I just got to
So
say, that's
cool.
amazing looking. That's
Yeah,
something I've always
I
wanted
agree.
to build. That's awesome.
Do we, Tim? Do we have pictures later on of your alligators? Because we have some questions of those about that. I'll save if we're going to be looking at them later.
No, because
Okay.
that's this year's stuff is the alligators.
Well, Allison Allerine, I think. I hope I pronounced your name right. Wants to know how many alligators did you make? How do you like them? And Robert Collins wants to know, how long does it take you to make one alligator?
The alligators I did not make myself. I purchased them from Walmart, free shipping to the store, but I animated them myself. And so, there's one that kind of put up like on a rock ledge type of scene with cattails and stuff around it. So I actually jump off that ledge and down onto the ground. Another one will attack you from the side. And I think altogether we have probably around 4 different versions of what the alligators will do to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim. All right, Julie, let's move along to Christine. We're excited.
Here we
to
go. Okay, Tito.
All right.
Okay, before we get into any of this, Linda Marshall wants to know, what are you going to do with the horse?
Well, the horse, her name is Sugar. She joins a growing collection of dead things. I do love my dead things.
Now,
The one hanging out by the gas meter?
Yeah, that one's name is Sugar.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm a biologist as well, so I will use my dead things for environmental education and.
Oh, very good.
That's cool though.
Go.
Yeah, but they always have starring roles in the haunts. I have Muerta, who's a deer, who I actually picked up on my way down to West Coast Haunt Convention. I was like, "Stop the car! There's a dead thing."
That should be on a t-shirt.
Right.
I
So
still
yeah,
see
so
one of
you
your
had-
props moving.
Yeah.
Roadkill hunt.
Stop the car. There's a dead thing.
It sounds like the city, it sounds like the county needs to start paying you.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's gotten to the point that now friends text me and they're like, "I saw roadkill. Do you want it?" I have a badger waiting for me. A friend of mine picked up
Oh
a
my
badger the
God.
other day. Yeah. No, I've got lots. So.
Well, tell us about this picture here that we're looking at.
So this is actually a perfect example of how things do not actually get finished in our haunt a lot of times. The missing panel section where the girl in black is, and a ladder. We try. We always run out of time. But these are some of our amazing actors. A couple of my really good friends. My best friend Jen is in the forefront. There is a professional actor in Calgary, and she's been really great. She's helped to train our actors. She's run actor orientations, actually taught them how to act in a haunted house. Done really, really awesome things. And then Colleen in the background there is also a hula hooper, and she managed to get us some hoopers who were really great for our circus themed haunt a couple of years ago. So anyways, this particular scene was great because we had a perfect triad of things. People would come around the corner and Jen would be under the bed or in a trunk because she's really tiny. She fits places you don't expect her to. And she'd be like growling and making these really awful sounds, and people would be like, where are those coming from? And so then they would go past her, and then she would jump out. They would get her, or she would get them, and then they'd try to like run past her, and Colleen would jump up and she would grab them, and then they would stumble backwards where I would drop down from where I had been like climbing our wooden pallets basically over their heads. And it was one of the best scares we have ever had.
That makes it all worth it, man, when stuff like that happens.
Oh, totally.
Nikki Spone wants to know how many actors you have in your hunt.
It varies from year to year. Last year, I did a quick head count. Like many people, sometimes people show up and we don't always know who we're expecting. But did a quick head count last year, and it was about 60 cast members. That did, so 60, but that did include a couple of people that ran front of house for us, ran our ticketing and things like that, and then a few people who were running our kitchen trying to keep hot chocolate flowing out to our actors. So.
Anthony Lordigan wants to know, what kind of advertising are you doing to get that many people in 3 days?
You know what? It's mostly word of mouth. We've been doing it for 25 years, growing every year. And so we just sort of have a lot of people telling other people to come see the haunt. Other than that, we put out big signs on the roads, somewhat illegally because the city actually requires permits. So every year we lose a couple signs.
I love that expression, somewhat illegal.
Somewhat illegal. I don't know.
Alternate fat.
Gray area.
Tell us a little bit about this photo here. What are we looking at?
Yeah.
So again, that's Jen, one of our star actors, but the pillar that she's holding is actually a pillar that we made out of plywood to hold up our main facade. So it's a really load-bearing, important pillar. And there's we have 4 of them in total. But then we did great stuff foam around the outside and a bunch of skulls and added some sphagnum moss and painted it. And they actually turned out really well. They took
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah.
They took a lot more time than they should have, but
Doesn't everything?
hunting.
Oh, this.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
This was one of our main facades. We built this 3 years ago now, when we started getting inspired by all of you amazing folks who post your photos and videos and come on Haunters Hangout and stuff, and we had to just try to up the ante. So this was one of the first big facades we built, and
Do you put that up every year?
We've put it up every year since, but we use it in different ways in different locations to try to spice things up a little bit.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, that's the overview.
A little bit of the overview of this is the backyard of the haunt, and this would have been 2 years ago now, I think. We change our maze every year and try to make things different. And it's interesting. People are always coming back going, oh, and they're always trying to figure out where the house is because they get so lost in the maze. They just kind of
That's awesome.
yeah. And we were talking about storage earlier and storing things in the yard. You can see the guillotine in like the left-hand top corner there. Yeah, that stays out all the time.
There's a lot of questions and a little bit of envy about the number of actors that you have. Elizabeth Davis wants to know, what's the most effective way that you recruit actors?
Oh, you know what? I have some really wonderful friends who are part of the theater industry and the community
Don't lie, it's the
theater
hot chocolate.
program. Sorry?
So don't lie, it's the hot chocolate.
It's totally the hot chocolate and the candy. I mean, because yeah,
we got the candy. We don't have the hot chocolate.
We don't pay in anything other than candy and hot chocolate and undying love and adoration. Maybe the odd reference letter. Those things sometimes go a long way. But the other part is that we partner with 2 charities. We partner with the Calgary Food Bank and with Oops Daisy Animal Rescue. And so between the 2 organizations, we get a lot of volunteers, especially through the food bank. They have a lot of people who want to volunteer sort of on a one-day kind of basis, and their actual volunteering is booked up months in advance. So they're really good at getting us like corporate groups and things like that. Not necessarily for actors, but for building. And then once they come out for building, I try my best to recruit them to come back to act.
Michael Skaggs wants to know approximately how many square feet is it, and how long does it take people to walk through?
So I tried to do a rough calculation, and I think it's about 10,000 square feet. I'm not that good at math, so and it probably varies year to year. How long it takes to go through really depends on how scared.
How fast they run.
Yeah. I usually tell people about 20 minutes to half an hour, and
yeah, that's
really long.
Size. That's a nice size line.
So let's keep going with that one. That was a good question. Dave and Marcy, how many square feet do you think your haunt is, and how long does it take people to go through?
All right, we had to shove them through this last year.
Yeah, I really only think it was a couple minutes going through. I mean, 2 or 3 minutes.
No, it's more than that.
Maybe
like
a little
5 or
more.
6.
Maybe, but not really. Not a long.
I had to raise my hand though, right?
No, you.
Yes. No, yes.
It's a technical question. You can answer it.
I thought about this. So we have the carport. It's 12 by 20. So we'll round that off, right? We'll call that like 200 square feet or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? The barn is probably about 20 by 20. What we use of it.
Yeah.
We don't use the whole thing. We have some for building and some for storage and some.
So
for
we were
gardening.
looking at maybe 600,
Yeah.
maybe 800 if we give ourselves extra credit.
800 maybe, and then we have the yard frontage, but like 900.
Oh, you put the gnomes up. I love the gnomes.
Yeah.
This was our deer scale, our dead thing.
We're coming back to that.
Yay,
Keep
dead
going.
thing.
But,
It's a dead thing. It's a real dead thing.
it's a real dead thing, yes.
Awesome.
Did
Okay,
we talk
so
about dead thing, or was I supposed to finish my thought before? Because I'm not.
we're gonna keep rolling with the square footage and how long people take go through.
Yeah. Julie puts the pics up because
Just ignore Julie for right
look a picture.
RIED.
I'm sorry, Julie. I'm sorry.
Did you raise your hand? Did you raise your hand?
It's technical. He can talk, or it was technical last week. We're on it.
I need a
But yeah, probably 100 square feet for the walkthrough itself. Probably only 3 or 4 to 6. Let's say 4 to 6 minutes to go through. It's really not a big. We're not a huge haunt, but we get a ton of kids because
it's like 8 rooms.
Yeah, I mean, when we always start out really strong and then it peters out, but you know how it goes.
We saved some of the good mannequins for the end this time.
We did save good mannequins for the end, but
Nice.
Cool. Monclair, how about you?
That's really hard to estimate because, well, I have 3-car garages, the inside maze that we did this year. So whatever that equates to in square feet, I have no clue. There's that, and then of course there's a walk around the house. So the house is about 4,000 square feet. So whatever it is to walk around that plus the deck. It's kind of hard to put that into square feet because it's just a walk. You walk around the house and that's it.
So
We had a little.
How long?
I'd say probably 7 minutes or so, maybe on average. It all depends. I mean, sometimes you get the people that are the people that you do your haunt for, the people who take the time and look at the stuff. And and then you've got the other people who, the little kids will run right through and say, "Can I go again? Can I go again?" It took them all of 60 seconds to run through the damn thing, And then you've got adults who just walk right by everything without looking. I tell you, one year, previously, I'll just tell real briefly, we would have in our yard, we would put divisions in the yard to make people walk through the yard, to make them go down and look at the props. Like we'd have something way across the yard, then something up by the house, down by the street, up. It's 3/4 of an acre, so you walk all the way around. And I swear people would just go cut right around the divisions and not even look at the stuff, just trying to get through. It's amazing. Sometimes we sit here and wonder, why do you people even bother coming if you're not going to look at this stuff? You just don't get it. And it's a running joke around here. We call it 30 seconds in the dark because that's what it is. I mean, you spend all this time on these props and these people look at this stuff, and 30 seconds is generous. I'll say it's more like 5 or 6 seconds looking at something in the dark. So
that's what they're called. They're called naunters, man.
So yeah, on average, I'd say maybe I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. All depends upon the person.
Right.
So, Tim, how about you?
Well, the backyard is about 3/4 of an acre, and we use up just about every single bit of it. I mean, it doubles back on itself as you're walking through. There's over 13 different types of scenes through it. I mean, so you've already seen a couple of the pictures of some of the scenes, and there's a lot more in there. I mean, you got witches and werewolves and various other things. As David just mentioned, I mean, the timeline, I mean, for me, not really focus on everything, say maybe 10 minutes. My wife's mom, it could take a half an hour. And also, as David said, I mean, you get the kids all just want to just bust right through there, and they're through it in 60 seconds roughly. And so, but it's about it. I'd say if you just not actually pay attention to all the detail, but just walk through it. I mean, maybe 10 minutes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. And Christine, we are not skipping you. You already answered this one. But we are going to move along to Dave and Marcy's photos.
Okay. So yes, like I said, this is our dead thing.
Yeah, it's a legitimate dead thing.
It was a deer skeleton that our neighbors offered because we got these really great new neighbors, and they actually decorated too. They need more lighting. They were a little disappointed we got all the attention. It was like, calm down, guys, you'll get there. But they gave us this deer skeleton, and we didn't know what to do with it. And I kind of dropped it in a spot, and then I realized that my friend had given me these really cool like boutique zombie garden gnomes. And we had a couple of the generic ones from Spirit. I'm sure you can tell which is which. But we just kind of surrounded. It worked. It made a cute little scene, and it was cute.
It's organic.
It was cute.
The gnomes are cool. I like them.
They're cool.
Yeah, no, they were a cool little present. That's my hearth that I did last year with some leftover flooring from the house and some other stuff thrown in. Again, the neighbors on the left side, there's that the double doors. There was actually a wardrobe that our neighbors were getting rid of when they moved into the house because they couldn't use it. So they were really awesome. They're like, hey, can you use this in the haunted house? Yes, of course we can. So we kind of people had to go through the wardrobe. Yeah, it was his idea. It was brilliant to make people go through the wardrobe. It was kind of a Lion, the Witch.
He's raising his hand. He's raising his hand.
Wow, this is a change from last year. Yeah, that's actually mounted into the frame of the barn at this point.
It's part of our barn now.
It worked wonderfully as a transition because nobody expected to go through the wardrobe, I think. And
so look now in this picture, you can see your wainscoting.
You can see the wainscoting more.
I mean, it definitely looks better with the lighting. It looks kind of streaky and weird in the daylight, but it worked.
It's very cool.
Block.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Very, very cheap, actually. I mean, we work
This
with
is-
foam.
I want to say this is also partially the power of tag sales. If we're looking at this, like the thing that's hanging on the wall was something I picked up at like a church bazaar at my mom's church or something. There's
Order
a
your vines
little-
from China.
Order your vines from China.
3 months in
and
advance.
plenty of time.
He's getting adventurous. He's not raising his hand. He's just going for it.
I'm letting him at this point.
I'm letting him.
Collection stuff. Actually, that was Rocco put that together. That wasn't even me. That was a friend of mine.
Traffic
That's
Jedi.
Grandmama. That's Grandmama. This is the reason we had to have the grandfather clock. Grandmama was
goodness.
our first haunt, and she was just a random thing I threw together in 10 minutes or less because we needed a thing in
The
the
year
corner.
before,
The
yeah.
year before,
Year
2015. And everyone was freaked out by
Everyone was freaked
Grandmama.
out
She'd
with
see her
this
like, oh my God, is she real?
It's creepy looking. That
So we
looks
tried to
Yeah.
put her back in, and then the grandfather clock is grandfather. He can talk. I'll shut up.
Okay. Where you see the shadows in the room. You change the photo. Okay, that's okay. I can talk to. Oh, this one's a good story.
This
but
is
that's
a
great
story. I'll let
Dave,
him-
roll with it. Go, Dave.
When you guys, I have a question myself. When you guys play role playing games, do you play the same? Do you both share one character? Like, do you-
Actually,
Choices.
yeah, that's a bone of contention. That's a bone of contention.
Awesome.
We've been together for a very long time.
It's okay, but you can talk about the thing.
Well,
And Dave
I'm
has
usually-
spoken 10 words in that entire time.
I'll let him do the
Just
thing.
kidding.
Oh my God.
Talk about this one.
All right, this is an example of how not to procrastinate or how to procrastinate. Just don't do it. This is a monster mud prop. This was actually a sarcophagus that I was terrified to build. It's a well lit.
Neither of us wanted to do it.
Neither of us really wanted to do this. My daughter wanted to be a mummy. I demanded to have an Egyptian cultist room for that, and I regretted it ever since. I made this out of basically bubble wrap, monster mud, a wig head, and some creepy cloth, which was thrown over afterwards after it failed. Because it was all
Just
monster
trying to
mud.
hold it on.
We got rain for the straight week before Halloween, and I wasn't banking on like a week of straight rain. So I did my monster mud project about a week before it had to be up. It made it
needed
through.
more
It
time.
made it through the first half hour.
A lesson to you all.
This is a
You
lesson.
won't be warned.
I include this photo for a reason. This is not in the video. This is not anywhere else. But I wanted to like shit goes wrong, and I want people to know that shit always goes wrong.
But you know the kids still love it, so it doesn't matter.
That's a coffin of a toe pincher, basically, made into a sarcophagus very badly because I did it last minute. But behind that is a hidden little passage where an actor can hide and pop out. Well, that scare was ruined very, very quickly. We adapted and we went through it. I don't think a lot of people actually noticed the fact that creepy cloth was tied in a knot to basically hold.
Oh.
I mean, we're talking. This is a train wreck right here. That's why.
But you can make it work as
You
the
can
moral
make-
of the story.
Push through the worst of
You
the
can do
worst.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And the walls are all carved pink foam. Well, these two actually, and they're
That's one of
texturized.
these. I don't know if this is the same.
It worked out. We had two actors in that other room, by the way.
All right, what are we looking at here?
This is a hybrid between Marcy's zombies, which you saw in the
Yeah, we
first
see the
photo.
zombies there, and
This is
paneling.
this is pink foam. We started working with suspended panels. We frame our panels
this
in
is
right behind us here. You can see them.
this
These
thing.
are actually suspended.
They're
panels.
intended to sit between the poles of the carport,
Yes.
so that you can just attach it to the carport with Velcro.
With Velcro. It's all Velcro, and it's very, very light.
So yeah, they're just framed by
It
1
makes it so
by
you can
3
rearrange your
furring
haunt
strips.
fairly quickly.
They're really light, durable enough for what we do with them, but wouldn't be
They
like.
made it through 2 seasons, and they're, as you can see, I mean, you can go back and repaint them a little bit, maybe.
I think
you know?
that other panel is 2x4s, just because that's what you had,
Yeah.
and then some cast stuff, and that skull was off of another. The big skull was off
Most
of
of the
something
other skulls
else.
are all
The
sand
sand
cast.
cast. That was those
Sand
panels
cast
of
skulls.
sand cast stuff that I did.
Yeah, just sealed
Yeah,
with
this
great
is just
stuff.
like an example of a whole bunch of random stuff that we put together. Oh, this was the morning after. I'd like to talk about this. Can I talk about this?
All your-
The morning after Halloween, this was my favorite part of Halloween 2016. And 2016 was an awesome, awesome year. We had a fabulous time on Halloween night, and it was so great. But my favorite part was when I woke up the next morning, and it was way too early. My brain should not have gotten me up at 7, but it did. I had taken a day off from work. I was going to sleep in. I didn't. But the whole world was blanketed in this really thick frost, so I just had to go out and snap a few more pictures. And this is the front yard.
You should talk about the process. Those are all Allen Hops.
Yeah, shout out to the Allen Hops. The pumpkins are all great stuffed pumpkins.
Oh,
and then
dear Lord, not those.
Yeah,
Another view here.
pumpkins. I see my Halloween sign. That was another impulsive thing I had to make. My scarecrows were mostly those happened because I had those 2 scarecrow heads that I bought at 90% off at Walgreens the year before. So I was like, what can I do with them? And put them on a PVC frame. One of them actually rotated. The one with the side rotated. Spider Hill Prop Works, I got the kit for the rotating guy. And the other guy just had a pitchfork and stood there.
Question for Dave and Marcy. What's your favorite prop in your haunt and or the one that gets the most comments? That's from Donald Garza.
Wow.
That's a tough one. I mean, I loved the Fairy Queen this year. Probably one of my, and I'll let Dave have his 2 cents without raising his hand, but one of my favorite things that I built is this little, I don't know if you can see the Hand of Glory behind me. This was just a really easy thing with a cheap dollar store skeletal hand, and I used the flickering lights to make the thing and the fingers and the flames and corpse it out. And
perhaps you should explain what
it was
a Hand of Glory
a Hand of
is.
Glory, yeah, it's like a voodoo kind of thing with the preserved hands with all 5 fingers, a light, and I loved the piece. It was just something really easy. But yeah, you put up the picture of the Fairy Queen. I loved her. She was so much fun this year. She was kind of the greeting on the way into the haunt. She eventually dropped the flower. I was sad about that, but.
I think
she was alive.
Actually.
Yeah,
I was working the line this year.
So yeah, I'll let Dave talk. I'll shut up.
The only photos we have like a couple decent nighttime photos of the Fairy Queen, but the area was flooded, absolutely flooded in fog. We had an actor dressed up like a tree.
She was great.
She was great.
Dude, people would be like, "Oh my God, she's not real."
Because
she's real.
You'll notice if you look at the full photo, which I think is in here somewhere, but you can see there's a gap in the barns. The barn has its own little siding thing, which is incredibly tacky, and it's been here since we got here. The scene setters, because yes, folks, that is scene setters behind there.
Use it when you gotta.
It breaks at some point. You couldn't see that with the lighting we had on at night. But you can see the fog juice there, by the way. Froggy, this one goes out to you.
Sponsored.
Totally.
I wish. Give me a free jug of juice, man. I'll take that.
We use a lot of it. We really do.
I'll take that.
Awesome.
In fact, that's a chiller underneath the brown cloth.
There was an argument about this placement of the fog machine too, but
happened 5 minutes before opening. But nonetheless, yeah.
It looks incredible. All right, though, we unfortunately have to move on, or we're going to run out of time. We love your pictures, and I wish that I could watch them all night, but we are going to move on to Monclair here.
Yes. So this is yes. This is another one of the hell projects that I did last year. As far as putting me in hell, it seemed like this and the electrocution prop are the 2 bastards of 2016. This is a paper mache / paper clay pumpkin. That was my first one that I'd ever done. I've never worked with any of those materials before, at least not in this fashion, and never with paper clay. So that was a learning experience. And this is I don't even remember. This is before anything being done with it. This is a fountain that we had built. Actually, I think my mom came up with this idea, skull fountain, and I think that probably came from the monster links of Halloween projects, that thing that's been around forever out there. So I redid it a little bit. I put the skeleton down at the bottom there, gave him a little coat of ultraviolet glow-in-the-dark paint, and that was it. Wasn't too bad of a project, seeing as how I didn't really do much of it. So that was a fun one. And And okay, this
moving along, nice.
yeah, we are, man.
Now we're cruising. Holy cow.
This is one of our very first props, and it's a spaceship. It's supposed to be a spaceship, and it goes with a couple of really crappy alien props that we have that are really, really old. Some of the first props that we ever made. And my sister actually came up with this idea. These are two kiddie pools that are turned on each other, then held together with a couple of screws, and I ran some lights and some reflective material around the outside there, and on top is a strobe light with a garbage can from Target, if I remember correctly. And it gives a cool, it gives the impression of like a 1950s spaceship or something.
Looks really cool.
Question for Dave from Chris Wilhausen, or Dave's wife in the other room, if you want to comment. What is? What's your
raise
favorite?
her hand.
What's your favorite prop from the stuff you got?
Mine, it's a toss-up. I as much as I hated the electrocution prop, I think it came out pretty good. So it's probably between that and the zombie groom that I made this year, which was also another animated prop. That was another shiatsu motor-based prop, but sans any of the Arduino controlling stuff, and that was what really caused me a lot of problem on the electric chair this year. But it's a toss-up between the two of those. I think the zombie groom looks better. I did a lot of I did the corpsing, I did the hands, I did the distressing of the outfit. The electrocution prop is cool because it's more techy. A lot of different things involved in that, and it looks good in the dark. So I don't know. I probably it's a tie. I love and hate both of them at the same time.
What are we looking at here?
Yeah, well, okay. This one, this is a shot of a picnic table. It started out as a picnic table years ago, and it's kind of grown, and we incorporated it into our zombie wedding, which is really the focus of the outside haunt this year. And we're looking at what they're having for dinner, and it's a guy with some great stuffed guts and a couple of legs that are actually animated. We picked those up from a pro haunt that went out of business this year. I think it's just a store-bought prop, but he had them actually sitting out in the rain, and they were rusted, but I managed to get them working. And it's just a bunch of store-bought stuff thrown on a table. And there's actually, if you look in the middle next to the bottle that's there, I neglected to take the plastic off of the tray of guts that he was eating. So, and actually for the first 2 days of the haunt, I neglected to take the plastic off. So I don't know. Maybe he was just saving that for later. This one here we call Himajima. It's this was one of the first animated props that I did, and it's got to be maybe 10 years old now. And it's using the Douglas fir hack, which was I don't even know if anybody even knows about that anymore.
I still got my trees.
There you go. All right. So those Douglas fir trees, those talking trees, there was a project to take those and hack them and use them to for animated Halloween props. And I wish I'd give you the picture of when I had been building this thing, but there's a picture somewhere of this thing with half of a store-bought mannequin head, like a foam head, and the thing looks like Howard the Duck. If anybody knows who that is, under that mask that looks like Howard the Duck, is this big old bill on it. But the eyes light up, the mouth moves, and we had actually built a custom circuit board for that one, based on I think it might have been hauntforum.com. It's so long ago I can't remember, but yeah. And the altar there was from Spencer's before they turned into Spirit.
Megan Larson wants to know, what did you like about paper clay versus mache?
Nothing. I hate both of them. They both suck, and I'm never going to use either one of them again. Nothing. There's a video on my vlog. Go watch that stuff on my vlog. There's one, I think it's called Paper Clay Fail, where we had put this paper clay over these, what we were thinking, over plastic wrap over beach balls, and we were just going to go and try to get a paper clay alone, to harden up, and it's just a disaster. And people are like the next day, your clay it's too heavy, you got too much of it. And I don't know. I probably the paper clay, once I got used to working with it, was pretty decent, and it it helped fill in a lot of problems on the Allen Hops Great Stuff foam pumpkins, which we weren't able to actually ever turn out very well.
This stuff takes forever to dry, though.
It does. Actually, with the paper clay, yeah, this is another shot of the Hemajima thing without the Hemajima guy in it, so you can skip on past that one if you want. Oh, I'm on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this one is a Evil Babies in a Crib. My mother and her brother actually made this. I had absolutely nothing to do with anything on this prop, so yeah, that was an easy one for me, an easy build.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sam Caddy wants to know what's your most effective scare?
The drop panel was the best scare that we've ever had. It's the first time we ever had it. We put it in this year. I put it in close to the last minute. We were building the maze, and I'm like, I really want to get a drop panel in. There actually is, again, on my YouTube channel, there's a top 25 drop scares, and we had number one. We had a girl who was walking through the haunt texting, and she stopped right in front of the drop panel and was looking at her phone right in front of the drop panel. Oh my God. You know the cartoons where the people jump up and they run in place? That's what that girl did. And it is hysterical. And probably the second best part of that drop panel was we had a little smart ass walking through, and we had these lenticular pictures on the walls where they change from like the person to a skull and then to a whatever, some kind of evil thing. They change as you walk by them. He's walking by and he's flipping them off, the pictures. And
I watched that one.
Yeah, he got right to that drop panel. Oh my God, my sister scared the life out of that kid. And we loved it. I mean, we absolutely ate it up. I know you're supposed to not want to scare the little kids, but this kid, I don't know, maybe he's 10 or 12 years old. He deserved it. It was a good scare. It was great. We watched that video that night. We watched it over and over and over, all of us laughing. Oh, it was great. So yeah, the drop panel is most effective.
That's awesome.
Michael Skaggs wants to know, what is your favorite go-to weatherproofer?
Man, those damn pumpkins I made, I put on spar urethane on them, and they did not last more than a week, and we had some pretty bad rain, and they were almost destroyed. I had to bring them in, and I put in good coats of that stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer to weatherproofing really is. I've tried that Flexi Seal stuff, which I've not heard other people really talk about, but it's the stuff that you've seen that TV commercial where the guy sprays it on the screen door and uses it as a boat. I've tried that stuff, and it seems to work pretty well, actually. It kind of dulls the finish on whatever you're working on, but I think that stuff's pretty decent. The spar urethane didn't really hold up so well for me on things that actually needed weatherproofing. A lot of the stuff just, it doesn't need weatherproofing.
Okay.
So Tim, how long is your setup and your takedown?
The setup is continuous all the way up through the second that we open up the door, and it still is not all put up. Takedown, we get down the front yard in the day, but we just get the front yard to the backyard, and then it takes me almost, there's still stuff in my yard. So actually, I guess it takes me months.
Oh yeah, that's where you store it.
But legitimately, I guess, I mean, the majority of this stuff is, put up probably within 2 weeks, just depending on weather. And that right there is another picture of the.
Oh wait, no,
tunnel.
Julie's going too fast. Christine, how long is your setup and your takedown?
Oh God, setup. We start usually pretty soon. Usually around May, although it still keeps kind of snowing here. So
Just
I don't
snowed
know.
here today too. Ish.
God, still?
Yeah, weather.
Disgusting.
So yeah, usually we start like hardcore setting up usually around September 1st, and then it's every weekend until then. And then takedown, we're always like trying to outrace the first blizzard. So we do our best to like really push through and try to get it all done within a weekend, but usually that means that it's down and kind of like crammed into a garage somewhere, and yeah, it's also still in the yard.
Marcy and Dave, if you raise your hand, same question for you.
Technical questions, he can answer.
Okay. Set up and take down.
Set up and take down. It's a long setup. We
did it gradually this year.
Yeah, we do it gradually. The carport goes up
in
probably
July or August. The carport is great because it ends up functioning as like an outdoor workspace for a while, and ultimately in September we have to put up the partitioning and stuff to make it into part of the walkthrough. We're not sure what the strategy is going to be this year, but by August
Yeah, it's a complete change of theme this year. So,
if we succeed, we don't know that we're going to, but
we
we're going to try.
We said we're going to do it, so
we're going to try. My daughter told us, the kid told us we can't back down. We can't go to anything less, so we have to at least be on par with last year.
I think the D&D will be like really cool.
If we can do it.
It's something that's not been done, I think.
That's exactly why we want to do it. It's been talked about. People always bring it up. It's like
it would be so much fun, but we're only going to do it if we can nail it.
Thing, but you lay on the darker end of it, and
right.
It's a hell of a lot of work. It's a total, flip.
We're only going to do if we can nail it. If not, we have defaults, but we're going to go for whatever we can.
We're working with the pumpkin dungeon.
But yeah, we should get to that point. Shut up. But yes, we're basically we do probably August and September is when we start putting things together. We actually answer the question, and then it's a couple of weeks to tear down. We try to pull in all the sensitive stuff as quick as we can, things that might be really effective by weather, because like in Canada we are subject to snowstorms and all kinds of or it could be beautiful. You just don't know.
No.
Blizzard.
Monclair, how about you?
Well, this last year was a little different because of the inside haunt. So we started September, I think, started setting up. That's the earliest that we've ever done it. Normally we'll start October 1st and start putting stuff out just so that we have things out as far as, decorations. For the outside haunt. And this year we really concentrated more on the inside and the garage. So October is pretty much what we do. September we started though on the inside this year, and we do keep part of it up all year round. In the basement we have a mad scientist lab and a dot room kind of a thing. The dot room we just roll up and zip tie to the top of the ceiling, but we actually keep the mad scientist lab set up because there's so many little bits of stuff all over the place, beakers and whatever you put in that thing, all that kind of stuff, skulls and things. It's a pain just to keep packing that thing up. And as far as tear down, in the past we have been able to do it in a day, but well, that's with a lot of that's with the whole family pitching in, but not this last time, and not probably the last couple of years. It's taken at least a weekend. But right now, there's still stuff in the garage, and there's a coffin in my car. So I didn't quite finish this year, and I like you were saying earlier. I think Christine was saying that you just stuff all the stuff into a garage, and yeah, that's kind of like my basement this year. It just got unloaded and dumped in, and not with that flood that we had. It was brutal, but. I'll let you move on to somebody else.
Well, we're actually going to move along to Tim's photos. Do we have one up?
Yes.
Go for it, Tim's tunnel.
Michael Scalberg, Tim, wants to know where you get your cylinders from.
Mostly from eBay. 99% of them comes from eBay. There's just another picture of the spinning tunnel. The camera, it just captured just the right movement of it. There's we have an 800 square foot blacklight 3D
that's awesome.
chroma depth rooms, and there's probably about a total of 9 different type of paint jobs of the rooms. That right there is just the dot room there.
Is that black plastic or is that cloth?
No, that's actually plywood, and there's like
Oh, is it?
96 sheets of plywood that I have to pack.
Oh.
Wow.
I actually tried to store it inside of my utility trailer, and it about collapsed the wheels on it. So that was not a good spot. A couple of years ago, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we never really decorated at the front yard, and probably about 3 years ago, we decided to take a chance and see what happens. Those right there, those pillars or columns, those are animated. The tops will raise up, skeletons would rise up, fog would come out, and the skeletons would talk back and forth to each other. And the gates.
It's on your spook one channel.
Yeah, are you having a stroke at the moment?
Yeah. And then that's exactly how you spell it. Scuba. Yeah.
Well, I'm out of drink, man.
That right there is just one little small shot of our the workshop area. That's before you go into the spinning tunnel. So it's just one small area of it. We got numerous characters and zombies and animated props throughout the whole workshop.
Sounds a little. Oh yeah, that one's dark. What's?
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's another part of the 3D room. That's the zombie room. I mean, there's like 4 walls, per rooms, and all of them are decorated, and that whole room is just decorated in zombie characters and 3D painted mices or whatever you want to say, and skulls, and then that's a shot of the front yard there. The skeleton's carrying a casket. Casket lid opens and shut, has a fog machine up inside of it, LED lighting that changes multiple colors. The front yard is mostly skeletons of one form or another. And this year we added a lot of animals to the front yard that would bark. That's my horse there with the headless horseman. I would say every year I try to have like a pride and joy build for every year, and that was my pride and joy for last year. The horse is animated. Within the first day of receiving it, I unboxed it, put it up in the living room, and I was like, okay, what does this thing do? And it's like, it makes noise, that's it. So within probably about 5 hours, I had the jaw being animated as it made its horsey sound and had fog coming out of its mouth.
Your horse was awesome.
Your horse
awesome.
was the best thing I've seen with
that is the winner of the horse prop.
Easily.
You win that category.
You win.
Horse prop.
Tim, question from Stone Digger. Have you ever thought about making something pop out of the sidewalls behind the dots, whack-a-mole style, or maybe drop panels hidden in the dot pattern?
No, just for the fact that it's just such tight spacing. I mean, it's just on the other side of the wall is the other wall, so I paint on the opposite side of the plywood. So there's really no rearranging the rooms, and I only have a 20-foot space, so each room is 10 feet by 10 feet.
Okay, last one.
I was hoping the last one would have been the horse rising up, but
okay, all right, we can go.
All right, I got it.
Yeah, we can go to that.
We'll fix it.
Is it this one? Is it this one?
Well, he's not rising up on his hind legs, but that
Julie.
Julie.
How do you spell that again?
How you spell it?
RIE.
Oh my God, Tim, did you even send that? Oh my God.
if you don't have it, I probably didn't.
Is it this one? No.
No, that's black.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's just another picture of it.
I think Tim's just trying to get some extra pictures in there.
That's not even a horse at all.
Oh, there it is.
So yeah, that it's rising up on its hind legs. It actually kicks its front legs around as it's rising up and blowing out fire. Put LEDs inside its nostrils so the fog that's coming out of it is, glowing as it's coming out. Like I said, I mean,
Completely
that
off.
was the pride. That was a pride and joy. It was on a repeat type of timer, so nobody actually set it off. It would just automatically go off on its own in 5 minutes, and every time somebody, every time somebody would walk past me in my haunt, I was like, "Did you see the horse?" And like, no. I said, "You didn't see it raise up?" No. I'm like, "Crap, damn thing's broke," And so I'll be back, and I go and I look, I wait a couple of minutes, and it rises up. I'm like, oh, thank God, So
Now, Tim, what boards would you use to control your animated props?
Well, I sell and make and use these 4-button controllers here, and for a low cost of $74, 4 channels. So that horse is actually operating off of one of those controllers.
You can send me payment tomorrow, Tim.
Can you come animate my dead things?
Okay.
Awesome.
Hey.
Very cool. Brad, do you have any questions for the panel?
Yeah, okay. Nick Christ had a question for the whole panel. If you had to trade haunts with a fellow haunter, or if you wanted to just say like a haunter who's inspired you, who would you choose?
Christine, let's start with you.
So that's an easy one locally. We have the Haunted Wastelands, which is Jason and Chrissy Oliver. They've been guests on Haunters Hangout before, and wow, I can't even go to their haunt anymore because I just get depressed.
Like, damn it, this shit's too good.
They're just amazing. Yeah.
Excellent taste in hockey teams too. Yeah.
Dave and Marcy, how about you? Are they missing?
I'm not
Oh, they're there.
Right here. I love Dark Rose.
Dark Rose Manor?
Yeah, Dark Rose Manor. I really we relate
I
to
think we
that
have the same answer here, actually.
artistic kind of approach to it. They're far better at it, but
they really inspired us.
That dark beauty thing.
Oh yeah, they definitely. They're very artistic, man. I love them.
We learned the immersion thing, I think, from them, and we're not there yet, but we're working towards that. So.
We would like to be that good at it.
We'd like to be that good.
Monclair?
Yeah, Dark Rose really had a great haunt a couple years ago.
No joke.
Yeah, I'd probably say McCamey Manor.
Wow.
No, not really. I'm totally joking. I find that repulsive.
Be nice.
I would say, there's so many great haunts out there. It's hard to pick one. Jason Becker's haunt, I think, is really cool. I think he did a great job this last year with his whole zombie thing. I thought that was great.
It was very cool.
Yeah, I really like Pat. I forget his last name. Dead Things. I think he's got some really great animated stuff over there too. Awesome YouTube videos to watch too. Really cool stuff. I learned a lot about pneumatics by watching this stuff, and I think Hallstaff's animatronics are just like Disneyland over there. That guy's just far and away heads and shoulders above anybody else that I've seen doing animated stuff. So really some great stuff. And I think another great one, oh God, I'm forgetting his name. He had
Tim Thompson.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. I would take every single one of your haunts. I think they're great. I saw some really great props this year from and I can't remember his name. He had I think it was Dr. something. He had the guy, the prop with the guy cutting the guy's head off, and then the body would pop up and shake in front. His whole yard is just filled with these fantastic.
You're talking Timothy Johnson?
No, Michael D'Amelio.
Yeah, that's it.
Michael D'Amelio, that's right.
Yeah, he's some fantastic pneumatic props over there. Really great stuff. So there's so many great haunts out there. It would be hard to choose. Yeah.
Dude,
Tim, how about you?
I'm so mixed up with all the great haunters. You're like, oh my God, no, that's not.
Okay, Tim?
I can't pick of just a single one because everybody has that I'm subscribed to and know through Facebook has so many unique talents. I mean, even here on our own show. I mean, just between everybody that's on here right now. I mean, they got such great characteristics in certain aspects of their build. So, I mean, I don't have one person at all. I can say that probably 20 years ago on the internet, I mean, DC Props was probably one of my inspirations for animated props as far as the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
The spitter. The spitter.
yeah. So it's like, I still have, like, I would copy all the pictures and stuff 20 years ago. And I mean, I still have them on CD-ROM of props I still want to build that DC Props did, 20 years ago. But, I mean, I really envied, David's paper mache. I mean, one day I'd like to be able to do that.
He's like, no.
All right.
Brad, do we have one more quick question? And then I think that's about all we have time for.
No, we still got to go through Christine's pictures.
But there's more pictures?
Yeah, you missed like a whole person.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to miss a whole
For
person.
who? Who did you miss?
Oh, Christine. Jeez. Yeah.
Okay, good, because I have
Oh,
lots of,
sorry.
I have lots of questions for
No,
Christine.
It was not
well,
me.
because I'm thrown off because somebody put my order wrong. So
That was probably Julie too. Okay,
No,
so
it
we have
wasn't.
three
Yeah,
questions. We have three
So
questions
sorry.
here. 3 questions that are kind of related for you, Christine, that have been asked. So I'll ask them all at the same time, and you can just give your general thoughts. Bob Quall wants to know any cooperation from the city for traffic. Chris Ainsworth wants to know, do you have security? And Donald Garza wants to know, how do you control such a large crowd? So they're all kind of related.
Great questions. I wish I had a great answer. We used to have a few neighbors who helped out with parking control and crowd control, and they've kind of gotten busy doing other things. Unfortunately, we're on a cul-de-sac, so it's kind of nice for traffic control, and we put up signs and Facebook posts ahead of time encouraging people to walk in and take transit and things like that. But yeah, unfortunately, that is something that could be better for us.
And Robert Collins wants to know, what is the youngest actor you have in your haunt?
Youngest actor last year would have been Mia, she was about 5, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure this year it'll be my son, who will be about a year old.
And he's acting in the haunt.
Oh, he has no choice.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what you do it. Oh, I love this picture right here. This is awesome, man.
Yeah, that was our witch's cabin. We started, my mom, like, right at the beginning of our haunt, became the Wicked Witch, and that is her persona. Like, her license plate is the Wicked Witch. We say it's the one day a year she gets to be herself. So she always complained that we never built anything for her, because she always likes the cute crap that I don't generally like to allow in the haunt. But so yeah, we finally built her a house, and
love it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's really nice.
And our
Awesome.
barn, not much to say about that. We had a hayloft where somebody jumped out and sort of over top of people as they came in, and that was a real hit.
Okay, hold on. Let me go out of sequence here. Just one sec.
Sure.
There we go.
Sorry. Lots of the dead things went in there.
Jose, do we have a technical difficulty slide?
Brad,
these
Brad,
moments?
say it again.
How do you spell it?
Oh my god! Oh my god! And I'm taking direction from you. That should say it all. Okay, what's this one, Christine? This is
Oh, we did tons of rooms, just like a little bedroom.
Break the hell.
What should I say about this one?
Shoot, that was pointed towards us, not you, Christine.
Not you,
Still
Christine.
insulting
No,
us.
I love you. Yes, okay. And what about this? This is cool. So, since I'm out of sequence, Jose.
I didn't say it goes.
Yeah, this was more of the barn. We did individual paddocks for some of my dead things. So Daisy, who was my horse before Sugar, I have her and her foal that had died during foaling. They took up one part, and Huerta, who is my deer that I picked up on my way to West Coast Haunt Convention, took up the other paddock. Yeah, they were a big hit.
Are the horses dying, or you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they weren't alive.
They weren't alive when you got them, were they?
I get very, very sad about it. But one horse, I have good friends. One horse was, unfortunately, didn't make it through foaling. The foal had gotten stuck, and then the other horse was just an old age thing. And yeah, so. This is Bathsheba's cabin. Bathsheba was my character for a couple of years when we did the Coven, and yeah, this is the witch's lair.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I just the whole.
Gorgeous.
I'd say I love this one thing, but I love it all.
Thank you. Yeah, this was my one of my favorite rooms for sure.
Looks like a little Hansel and Gretel thing going on.
Yeah, those are the photographer's kids.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Question from Megan Larson. Christine, do you bleach the bones?
So I haven't yet. I do have plans to. Some of them have been sun bleached and are pretty clean already. They've been picked clean by
Bugs.
insects. Yeah, Sugar is still working her way towards being clean.
Cleanness.
My
So you
dad
don't
is
boil
like,
them. You never boil them or anything?
well, I will eventually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will be. It's hard to find a big enough pot. This one, my dad is like the garage sale king. I don't know where he finds some of the stuff that he does, but this was the bargain, and he was so excited about it.
That is so cool. I just gotta say, that is awesome looking. I love that.
It's so great, and it works and everything. And we have big plans for it, but yeah, the last year it's just been it just got put in as is because we didn't have time to do anything to it. But
Okay. Let's see, I think last one. No. Those are plants.
Oh yeah, plants. We did the Honda Forest. We made trees out of big PVC pipes and then covered them in grate foam and painted them, and they worked really well, and screwed them into like a plywood floor. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is what, dead babies?
Yeah, this was our kindergarten room. Last year we did a school themed haunt, so this was our kindergarten room.
Very cool.
Nightmarish.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but the carriage with the baby spilling onto the floor is the most disturbing part of it.
So,
Oh my
we
God.
have like over 300 dolls, and it's always a challenge to figure out how we're going to put them into something. So
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, last one. This is cool.
that guy we've had for years. Actually, my dad got him for, I think, his 50th birthday party. It was a present. His birthday's in September, so we always do Halloween themed things. And yeah, one of his friends gave this to him, and it's like on its last legs. Like if we get this year out of him, I'll be impressed. But yeah, I love him.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for almost skipping over you. I blame Diablo.
No worry. No.
Jackie, he told me to go out of sequence.
I know, and he threw me off.
Oh,
No.
It's all good.
we make plans and then he just
And then he just messes them up. I know.
Guys, we save the bickering for after the show.
you
Being unprofessional here.
know, good help's hard to find.
No, thank you all so much. It was an awesome show, and we are going to move along to the prizes.
Yeah, just before we do that, I just want to remind everyone our panel. We had lots of questions we couldn't get to tonight, so if you get a chance to go through and answer them tomorrow or at your leisure, that would be great. Thanks everyone for all your questions.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we're ready for prizes? All right.
Yeah, and remember, we don't have fake applause anymore, so we have to be
That's
genuinely
right.
Real
enthused.
applause.
Hey, you have to do the golf clap, right? Okay, so the winner of Froggy's Fog, Gallon of Fog, is Nadine Ellard McEwen. The winner of the FFX mask is Robert Collins.
All right.
The winner of the Fright Props Spider is Nick Christ.
All right.
The winner of the Sam Haines Something Wicked This Way download is Elizabeth Davis. And the winner of the Sinful Audio download is Dave Rapian.
All right. Hey, nobody won that I don't like this time. Sweet.
Oh, very good. So please contact Julie Rydell and Brad. How do we spell that?
R-I-E-L.
Right. Please contact me by tomorrow, Friday, which is the 28th, and we can get your prizes set up for you. And thank you for watching. Awesome.
Right.
Great show.
Right. It was an awesome show, guys. We want to thank everybody for coming on and spending their time to take a moment and showing us all your props and all your haunts, and make sure with all the sponsors that when you go and buy all your haunt stuff, you go to them first, because they are giving away the prizes and they are sponsoring Haunters Hangout, which we all love, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and we're out here. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Awesome.